Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, students. In this video, I'm going to talk about the derivative of power rule. In the first one, we did talk about constant function. Now, if we have output variable x, mean if f of x equal to k constant, if only constant will be 0. If only constant, f prime of x equal to 0. But on this explained first video, like I said, f of x equal to 5, for example. So f prime is equal to 0, f prime of x. Or for example, f of x is equal to half constant. The output always half. So f prime is equal to 0. Another example, if f of x is equal to negative 3 over radical 2. So f prime is equal to 0. In this example, the output only 5, so there is no change. The derivative mean change of y with respect to x. Here also, in this example, the second example, which I said half, also equal to 0. And the last example, this one, negative 3 over radical 2, also is equal to 0. So f prime of x is equal to 0. Okay, so this one, again, equal to 0. Now, but if I have f of x equal to k, a constant, but multiplied by x raised to power n, because if power 0 will be 1. Now, then what about the derivative? Then the derivative change of y with respect to x, f prime of x, equal to multiply n by k, see the rule, n times k, multiplication, and x to the power n, now not n, the power is n minus 1, n minus 1. So this is the rule. Now, this is the rule to find the derivative. This is the rule. Okay, n by k and x raised to the power n minus 1. Example. See, for example, if y equal to 5x cubed, what is the y prime equal to the derivative? Whether it's y prime or dy dx, mean change of y with respect to x. It's up to you. Now is equal to, according to the rule, see, n by k, n is 3 and k 5, it is 15. And x to the power, see, n by k, 15, 3 by 5, to the power n minus 1. n is 3 minus 1. So it is 3 minus 1, which is 2. So the answer is 15x squared. 15x squared. Another example. Y equal to 10x power 4. So the question is find to find dy dx, y prime or dy dx. So the dy dx equal to n for k10, so be 40, 4 by 10, x to the power 4 minus 1 is 3. Another example. So y equal to negative 7x to the power minus 10 equal to, so the y prime equal to negative 10 by negative 7 is 70. X to the power negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11. Another example. This example is another one. That is it. Y equal to 8 x to the power minus 3 over 5. So now what is the y prime or dy dx is equal to 8 multiplied by negative 3 over 5 x to the power negative of minus 1, negative 3 over 5 minus 1 is equal to negative 8 over 5. Negative 8 over 5. Why negative 8 over 5? Because minus 1, we have 5 over 5. You can write it negative 3 over 5 is 2. This minus 1 means 5 over 5. Use calculator. So the answer is negative 24 over 5 x to the power minus 8 over 5. Also can be simplified more. Then another example. Another example. Let us say y, example, y equal to 20, and here I have a cubic root x squared. Okay, so now what is the dy dx? To find, question again, to find y prime, dy dx. See, solution. Here what we have, here we have k is 20. Again, look at the rule. K, the rule is k constant times x, 2 power n, x to the power n. Here what we have, in this one, we have a 20. But what about x? X, here there is a root, so we have to write it n power. After the n change, write power. If I have a radical m, here x to the power, let's write here x power m, and here let's assume here I have nth root, not only square, n maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. So this can be written as a rational power. How to write rational power? X raised to m over 1 over n, m over n. So this one written as m is 2 and n is 3. This is the first step. Now equivalent is the same, but this radical root is written converted to rational power. This is the first step. Now the derivative, the y prime equal to, the y prime equal to n by k. So 20 times 2 over 3. So 2 over 3 multiplied by 20. Multiplication. And power, x to the power, 2 over 3 minus 1. So clear now. I have here 40 over 3 multiplication, x to the power, 2 over 3 minus 1 minus 1/3. Can be simplified more. I stop here because just I want to show how to find the derivative. Okay, then another example. Another example. Assume we have example. I have y equal to 8 over x 5. To find dy dx, or we said y prime is up to you. But dy dx or y prime, or even f prime. Now, solution. We said the rule y equal k xn. But what is the k here? Y equal k is 8. 8 times x, but this is over x. That is mean we have to switch to write it up. X. So if we write up, will be x power. Well, the power is 5, negative 5 now, because this denominator. Now you have to write it k xn. The rule is k xn, k times. See the rule? K times xn. And what is the y prime? Y prime is n by k, x raised to the power n minus n by k. So now the dy dx equal to minus 5 by 8, negative 5 by 8 is negative 40 x to the power minus 5 minus 1. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6, so minus 6. Another example. So also can be simplified, can be written. This also can be written negative 40 over x power 6. Now another example. Let us say y equal to 21 over radical cubic root x squared. Now again, the rule is to find the y prime to find here again, to find y prime. So we have to write it as k, is the k, 21, x. But what about x? X here a root, so we have to write it as rational power converted. So what we said the radical here n xm equal to xm over n. So I have x 2 over 3. This is the first step. Then the derivative is, so before the derivative, also we have to write it y equal now k x to the power n. Now what n? Negative 2 over 3. Why? Because this is denominator, and the rule is y equal k times x. And this is k over x. So you have to write it times. Now we can find the derivative. Now the dy dx, the y prime is, the dy dx y prime is equal to 21 multiplied by negative 2/3 and x to the power negative 2 over 3 minus 1, clear this negative 2 over 3 mean minus the 3 over 3, so negative 5 over 3. Yeah, this way. Also can be simplified more, students. I stop at this on the first step. You can simplify, multiply, you just write it down, also call it as a radical. Another example, if you ask to find, for example, dy dx, the y prime for y is equal to 7 over 8x squared. So what you have to do, now what we said the rule kxn, so the solution is, so y equal to k, you have to rewrite it, k, x, now this x denominator, so we have to write it up. Why? Because the k, 7 over 8 is the constant, 7 over 8, and x power negative 2. Now the n negative 2, k 7 over 8, and this is n. Now see, students, this is the k, now this is the k, this is the k, and this is the n, and this is the x, so kxn. Now, the rule is the prime, how to get the y prime. Okay, how to find now the y prime. See, the y prime is here, I write here. Now we have y prime or dy dx equal to, so the y prime equal to n by k. So what we have 7 over 8 times negative 2 times negative 2. And x, what about x? X to the power negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. You can simplify this one, students. You can multiply with negative 7 over 4. And this, even you can write it down, x cubed. You can write it here. But this is the first step. So now, if you ask to find, for example, now at a specific value, example, let us say y equal to y or at f of x or h of x, doesn't matter. And for example, I can write this one is f of x equal to, for example, 40 and x cubed. And you say then find, for example, f prime of what? F prime of 2. So what I have to do? So I have to find f prime first. So see the solution is. So the solution, so write it this one. Okay, so the solution of x, or first f of x, write it as 40 x cubed. So the f prime of x, 3 by 40 is 120. X squared is the first step. Second step. So I have to replace, and I have x is given here the question to find at 2. At 2. So equal to. See the first step, 3 by 40, 123 minus 1, 2. Now we have 120. X squared, what's the x? The x is 2. The x is 2. So then equal to, the solution is, we have 4 by 120, 480. Okay, and another example, if I said example, now let us say y is equal to 9, and here I have x 1 over 3, and let us say find dy dx at x equal to 8, for example, x is equal to 8. See, students, now here, the dy dx, the solution is, I have dy dx equal to 9 multiply n by k, n is 1 over 3, this is the n, well, this one is the k. Again, multiply n by k. 9 times 1 over 3, x raised to the power 1 3 minus 1 will be negative 2 over 3. So this is the derivative. Now, dy dx, I can simplify really this one. I call it as a 3. And this one, I call it denominator, x2 over 3 is up to you. Can keep it as negative power. Now, see, what is the dy dx now? The dy dx, okay, dy dx at x equal the question 8, x equal to 8. Replace now in the derivative. So is equal to 3 over x to the power 2 over 3. What is the x? The x is 8. So now equal to 8, 2 cube, students. This one 2 cube, so I calculate this one 3, and 8 2 cube, 3 3 out, so it'll be 2 squared, so I mean 4. That's the answer.